My signals, I use support and resistance levels. I use things like moving averages, and I use indicators, and I create my own indicators. My indicators are absolutely incredible. My indicator's called the top. You can clearly see that, just as I called the April bottom back over here. Here I got the signal on April 8th, the day after the April 7th bottom. Other signals that I had called the very day of the bottom, and I called the very day of the bottom, just as I got super bullish down here, I got super bearish up here. And again, people told me how wrong I was, didn't want to hear it, I got attacked, and yet I continue to be correct. You have good indicators, you can, and look at support and resistance levels, you can make absolutely incredible calls. Called so many amazing things. Again, the bottom here, and again, got signals bottoming, predicting this rally before it ever started. I told you it was going to happen going into Thanksgiving. And reaffirming the rally over here, telling you we're going to go into the trend line into the 100 period. And look, my signal called the top yet again. Many people could tell you, oh, we're going to have this rally, but we're not going to go above 98,900, and we're going to go back to the 100 period moving average. Over here, I told you we were going to go into the Fed meeting, which we did, but we didn't get the reversal. We bounced up the support, so I reaffirmed the signal to go back up here. I change with my signals as my signals tell me what to do. Blessed are the flexible. They shall not be broken. I am flexible. That, again, I told you it was just going to be a miniature relief rally. So, again, we're going lower. Eventually, we're going to test this low and eventually take it out. Continue to nail it. Look at the signals. Again, the sell signal, then reaffirming the sell signal after the miniature relief rally. I had a bunch of sell signals on the 14th, the day of the top, January 14th, 15th, 16th, here the 17th, rejection at the 100 period moving average. Told you we were going to 80,000. Remember how I told you 80,000 is not the bottom? People scoffed and laughed at me, but yet I was right. Oh, my signals did an amazing job calling the top, calling this rally back up, back-to-back sell signals up here. Talked about all of this, rallying right into that 100 period moving average. I don't know about you, but my signals, man, are sure helping me. If they help you, follow the link below and support my channel. Again, I put out this information and show you these are the signals that I use to make my Bitcoin trading decisions, like recently adding to my short position with the January 14th rally here. Signals turning back to bearish January 14th, 15th, and 16th, and some on the 17th, as you see here. These are the signals that continue to get it right. If you find that information helpful, support the channel. I don't have any affiliate links. I don't have any sponsors. I turn those offers down. They contact me all the time. If you get a YouTube channel, they're going to contact you all the time. I turn those offers down. Don't want to send you to some exchange that wants to give you leverage up to wipe you out. You never know which exchange is going under yet, or some of these other shady deals on the internet. So I just ask, hey, if you love Bitcoin as much as I love Bitcoin, trading it back and forth, do you like making money like I like making money with Bitcoin? I love trading Bitcoin. It's a great thing to do. I enjoy it. And I enjoy being right because my indicators are right. If you find that information helpful, support my channel. So you want this information, you want me to do these videos rather than go golf. I need to hear from you in order to make that work. So if you have benefited from this Bitcoin collapse, previously the Bitcoin rally, support my channel today. Thank you for your consideration for that. And by the way, the link will take you to a secured site. You don't have to worry about anything, and you can donate as much as you want. Anything helps. Please take a moment, step up to the plate and help out. Let me know that you want this information. These signals are absolutely incredible. Spent thousands of hours creating my own indicators that actually work. I did get some momentum signals, but it only gave us a feeble counter trend. I told you again, it could be a feeble counter trend or a bigger counter trend. These signals, I told you, could suggest a bigger counter trend, but they didn't. It was still a feeble one. But regardless, I told you I have no interest in playing these short-term price fluctuations. I remain short, as I continue to tell you. Again, the signals reaffirmed another counter trend rally ending right here. This gave us a counter trend bounce, just as these other counter trend bounces. I told you the rally is going to fail. Some of my short-term signals marked short-term momentum bottoms, but you never know how big the rally will be with those signals. Trend is still down. You may be able to fool the moon boys. You may be able to fool the experts. You may be able to fool the herd, but you cannot fool my indicators. My indicators are the experts, and we saw the trend signals flip back to bearish, and they are correct. The 80,000 is not the bottom, and we're going down to take out 74,000 eventually. Maybe we bounce above it. Maybe we and bounce first, or maybe we take it out and bounce, but you're going to eventually take it out. Eventually go down towards the 200-week moving average, currently at 58,000, probably towards 60 to 63,000. I told you in my last video we had a bullish divergence, and maybe we get a triple bullish divergence, but I told you we could be in crash wave 3 here, or crash wave C in my Elliott wave counts we talked about. And again, you could something like what we had over here, where again you formed a bullish divergence, but you kept crashing, and the RSI ended up moving to new lows, which is what we're having happen right now in the 4-hour time frame. Example is the MACD. Again, turned up, got a bullish divergence. We got a bounce back to the 200 period, but we rolled over there at the center line and tried to get a triple divergence. Now we're moving to a new low, putting parameters down in the negative territory. So again, as I've said in my last update, you might be in crash wave 3, or the last 2 updates, I should say. We've dropped now over 22% since I called the lower high. And remember, I told you we had the sell signals on the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, and a few on the 17th. Gee, those signals were right. And then we saw the drop below the 50 and the 200. We got the bearish death cross here. Everything I've told you continues to be correct. We were getting a rejection at the 50 period moving average in the daily time frame. If we were to rally up bigger, you would hit these trend lines of resistance. I told you whether a feeble rally or bigger rally, it was going to fail. And by the way, my trend lines moved on here. Let me fix them. I love these charts, but sometimes the trend lines move on you. And again, now we're taking out the support zone. The low here, 80,000 to 83 to 84,000. There, we're taking that out. We were told that wasn't going to happen. Oh, who told you it was? MACD rolled over, went into the negative region. Oh, the MACD is back in positive territory. Here we go. And we go to new lows. We're becoming very oversold. As I've said, either you're going to bounce just above 74,000, or you're going to take it out and bounce. You're going to get some kind of bounce at some point. But eventually, I think you're going to make your way lower. Now here, again, I've got the 3-leg push marked right here. I've got also the 5-leg scenario. I'm watching to see, do we get a 3-leg push down here in a ABC type of a move or a complex correction, or is it a 5-leg push down? I've talked about all of this. But remember, I told you when I predicted we are going to, on January 2nd and 3rd, and late December, I told you we were going to, my signals were turning back to bullish. We were going to rally back up here. We saw the breakout and the back test of the triangle, and then again, the bear flag, or here I have marked it as a rising wedge, rejection at those levels. The 38.2 Fibonacci, again, told you we weren't going above 98,900. Rejection at the upper boundary. Absolutely amazing calls. But we're getting oversold. At some point, we'll get a bounce. We'll see. Size back in the negative region. Remember, I told you when I was telling you we were getting ready to top going into the January 14th high, and then when we got it, and the days that followed right behind it, I told you the moon boys had better pray that this isn't the new expanded channel, expanded falling channel, because that means we're going down to one of these lower boundaries at some point in the future, and 80,000 is not the bottom, as the so-called experts have been telling us. I don't know about you, but these signals have really helped me make a lot of money. These signals are absolutely incredible. My signals, which are correct, continue to nail it. You know, even my weekly signals, I had some momentum signals turn bullish, predicting that we would get the miniature relief rally, but the trend never changed. As I continue to point out, my signals bearish. I had signals that called the very week of the top, the very day of the top in the daily time frame. Some of the signals marking the top for the weekly bar in the weekly time frame. You see, signals are still bearish. And again, the trending signals remained bearish here. The signal turned bearish the week after the top. Other signals I have turned the week of the top and marked the top in the weekly time frame. I told you how I knew we were still going lower, and again, we are in a confirmed bear market in the weekly time frame, as I've talked about. I posted this daily chart back at the top, and again, it's playing out beautifully. Again, broke the trend line, back tested it. We had the peak, predicted that we dropped to the 74,000 area, 41% drop to 63,000. I think, again, you're going down to 60 to 63 before all of this is over. And again, here we are at 75,000 at the lows, trying to recover. As I'm making the video here on Saturday, Bitcoin's down 8% for the session. And again, there's going to be a bounce back up, and then people say this is a bottom or whatever, but you're either going to bottom here above 74,000 and bounce, or you're going to take it out and bounce. But eventually you're going down to 60 to 63,000, or the 200-week moving average at 58,000. Again, talked about this being a miniature relief rally. The big bear market rally will be over here, and it will deceive people just as the miniature relief rally deceived people. Posted this chart back up at the top, laughed at, mocked, and yet, oh gee, I was right. Here we are down here. I still have my arrows from this counter trend. I had other arrows right here, but I moved them so you could see the price action. And if you've been following along, remember the arrows up here off of the broken trend line after we got the final exit point and the back test of the broken trend line. Then I believe you'll get the right shoulder over here, but I think you'll take out this level. Some people are going to call for it here. Maybe it plays out that way. It's possible, but I think it's more likely you go down lower towards the 200-week moving average. Now, how I called the top was hitting this trend line from the previous highs, pointing to the next high. And again, I talked about all the resistance there. My signals, which are correct, warned of a top there, and the divergences in the weekly time frame. Now, not only did we break the trend line from the 2025 low, the 74,000, this trend line right here, but you're also breaking the trend line from the 2022 low. Right now, you're trying to break the trend line going all the way back to 2015. There are a lot of trend lines that I've looked at. Now, here back to the lows after the 2018 bear market, 84% drop, and the sell-off with the pandemic. I believe these lows are pointing to the next bottom, just as I believe these highs were pointing to the next top. Posted this chart back up at the top, laughed at, mocked, and yet it continues to be right. Bitcoin in the bear markets, like over here, 84%. Oh, that's outrageous. That's ridiculous. Bitcoin's not dropping. Are you kidding me? Every single bear market for Bitcoin has been around 80 to 90%. The smallest one we've had was here at 78%. You don't think Bitcoin has bear markets anymore? You got to stop smoking the loco weed. It's making you think stupid things. Bear markets for Bitcoin are 80 to 90%. If you go 90%, you're likely going back to this trend line. I think you likely will, because I think you'll have a dot-com style bust in the stock market, a recession, and a banking crisis. Bitcoin has never experienced any of those things. And the recession that it did experience, it was papered over. Continue to say the rate cuts are bearish, they're not bullish, but the herd believes that they're bullish. That's why they're blind to all of this. Fed is not doing stimulus right now. They are trying to inject liquidity because we're about to have a banking crisis. Here in the weekly time frame, continue to know it. We're probably going to bounce around the 200-week moving average, get a bear market rally, and then head down towards one of these levels. And an 80% drop. The head and shoulders, it measures down. If we bottom at 74,000, it measures down to 22,000. If we go lower, it measures lower than that for a slanted neckline. If we go down 90%, again, you're coming down here at 11, 12, 13,000, hitting wherever you hit this trend line, but around closer to 90% or just over 90%. Here in the weekly time frame, again, my signals, I had several of them mark the week of the top right here. The bar turned red that week. The bars have been red ever since, even with this counter trend, this miniature relief rally. My signals, which are correct, again, where you're likely getting a bear market here, is going to drop 80 or 90%. I've been showing you this chart, and again, laughed at, mocked, told you we're going to take out the 100 period, move back to this trend line right here from these previous lows. It was resistance here, became support here. You're going to move back to it and bounce as the 200-week moving average rises. You're either going to tag the 200-week or just be just above it at this trend line. Then you're going to get your bear market rally back up to the 50-week moving average, or even overthrowing it. You could possibly move to 100,000. No guarantee that you do, but bear market rallies are pretty powerful. This was just a miniature relief rally. Again, getting something very similar to what we had over here, where you had a miniature relief rally, but then you got the next leg down. The stock market will join Bitcoin, and then you'll get the big bear market rally. Here we overthrew the 50-week as it was slightly declining. You're going to see something very similar to that, and then eventually you're going to break this trend line, break the 200-week, and go back and test 15,000, either just above it, an 80% drop at 25,000, closer to 90,000, taking it out, moving to 11, 12, 13,000. You don't think that's possible? Again, we're moving into recession. We're going to have a dot-com style bust, and we're going to have a banking crisis. This is going to take a wrecking ball to Bitcoin. But again, I continue to point out, and again, mocked that this is playing out. Look at my signal here. Mark the top. The very next week, the bars turned red. They've been red ever since. I have signals. If you follow my work, you've seen my weekly charts. My signals nailed it. Price oscillator also nailed the top. In a confirmed bear market with 2 consecutive closes below the 50-week moving average. I warned about this. I have people repeating what I'm saying because it's being proven correct. And you're not going to be done with this thing until you drop 80% or so. This was 78, the smallest bear market in history. You're likely going to get something bigger than that. Absolutely incredible, my amazing indicators. The signals absolutely nailed this. Just as they nailed the last peak, they nailed this peak, nailed the last bottom. Again, the signals continue to be correct. As I've said, I've had some weekly signals that nailed the top. The daily charts nailed the top. I call the day of the top because we were slamming into resistance. Here, the bar turned red the week of the top. The bars have been red ever since. We're taking out the 100-week, likely moving down to the 200-week. Again, I think you're going to get a slanted kind of a neckline, sloping downward, and then I think you get that right shoulder. Again, I don't think you take out this low here. I think you get it here above our 200-week moving average. Then you rebound back up, and that's what we did back over here. You went lower, got this head and shoulders pattern here, but it was a slanted neckline. You didn't take out this previous low, and I think you're doing the same thing here as I've talked so much about. But absolutely incredible signals. Again, calling the top over here, calling the bottom over here, and these pullbacks in the bull market along the way. Now the new bear market being confirmed by my amazing signals. Again, I am getting some momentum signals turning bullish. I'm getting back-to-back signals here. Again, at some point we can get a bounce here above 74,000. Maybe we break it and get it. As I've said, at some point you're going to get a bounce, a bigger bounce. Here we had a feeble bounce. As we go down, you're going to have bounces along the way. Signals here, call the turning point. Beautiful. And we're not gonna bottom until we reach one of these lines right here. Currently 71,000. This more likely this one right here. Currently 62,000. You're probably going to come down to the 60 to 62,000, 63,000 area and find a bottom somewhere there. We're turning out the 100 period as I told you we would, holding below Bitcoin's average price, and eventually you're going to get a bear market rally. Again, we had momentum signals turn back to bullish, but we're still in a sell signal, as I've talked about with my trending signals. And that's why I told you the rally would end up failing. And I told you even if we got a bigger counter trend rally, the weekly charts are still bearish. And I told you I expected 80,000 to be taken out. Signals are still bearish here. We got a counter trend rally that was feeble. Here in the weekly time frame, we're still on a sell signal. We marked the top. Let me just scroll down so you can see. We marked the top, the very week of the top. Bars turned red that week. Confirmed sell signals the very next week, and then reaffirmed with the final exit point, another sell signal. We got a momentum signal here. The bar tried to turn green. Momentum turned up, but the trend is still down. And now we're reaffirming the sell signal here, and the bars have flipped back to red. Last week we dropped 7.5%. Now we're down over 10% for this week. Trying to recover though. We'll see what happens. It's not a bullish chart. Right on. Bitcoin dropping 10% today. Currently it's down 8.25%, dropping over 10% at the lows. Oh, gee, who told you that was going to happen? You know, I have been attacked and attacked for calling the top, for predicting this crash, which isn't over yet. We're now hitting 75,000 at the lows today. Told you that we were going down to the next level, 70 to 74,000. We're going to test the April low. You remember the April low back when I called the bottom, the day of the bottom for Bitcoin, the April 7th low? You remember that low? Just as I called the day of the top on April 6th, slamming into major resistance, and I told you why I flipped from bullish to bearish and why I believe the 4-year cycle had finished. I got attacked for saying that, but yet, oh gee, I've been right. Dropped 36%, and then again, I told you over here before this rally happened, I told you that week we were going to bottom and we were going to rally into Thanksgiving and into the Fed meeting. I was right. Told you over here, I thought we were going to go down. I was right. Now, I told you I thought there was a good chance we were going to take out 80,000 right then. Then I changed because my signals changed and we found support at the support zone. And late December, early January, I told you we were going to go up and hit this upper boundary and hit the 100 period moving average, but not move above 98,900. How many people will tell you exactly what they think? Again, I'm not going to be perfect. Over here, there's a good chance right here at 94,000 that we go down and resume the decline right there. My signals change, so I tell you exactly what I think. But yet, I called the day of the top, called these crashes, the counter trends pretty accurately. Told you over here, again, we are going to go over to the 100 period. Why? Because Bitcoin follows the 100 period. You can see up the pink line, the 100 up here. Got rejection here. Got rejection here. Getting a 10% crash. Warned you back on January 14th. My signals, which are correct, predicted I was going to be right about getting rejection at the trend line and the 100 period moving average. And I'm just telling you this. Look, you know, I get called every name in the book because I'm being right. People are scared. People don't want to hear the truth, and they think if they attack me, if they call me names, then it will make it magically not happen, and Bitcoin will somehow recover. And again, it's because they're holding losing positions. That's why they're so scared. You know, they make dumb decisions like buying the breakout, a fake out, buying these tops. It's a breakout. The Moon Boys told us it was a breakout. I told you it was a fake out. Showed you the resistance trend lines in the weekly time frame. We got the liquidation move. They never saw it coming. Then they tell us it's a bottom. I told you it's not the bottom. It bounce and we go lower, and then they say it's another bottom, and I told you no, it's a rally. I told you we had the final exit point, and I told you when we reach the final exit point at 116,000, you're not going to see 116,000 in all likelihood till the bear market is done. We're not going to be back up at these levels for a couple of years. Bitcoin's either going to drop until late 2026 or somewhere on into 2027 if we end up breaking the 4-year cycle. They told us the 4-year cycle was broken up here. I told you the 4-year cycle is intact. It may change if we see the bear market extend longer than late 2026 because we're going to have a recession. We're going to have a dot-com style bust in the stock market. We're going to have a banking crisis. So that could change the 4-year cycle, but right now the 4-year cycle is still intact. And if we bottom out in late, in October there of 2026, then the 4-year cycle will remain intact. But again, people are scared. People are trapped. Bitcoin continues to go lower, and they've made these bad choices of buying the dip that keeps on dipping. Again, look at all the experts. They said, 80,000 was the bottom. Tell me how stupid I am for not seeing it. I say the opposite. I say they're dumb for not, and I don't call them dumb, but I'm saying that they're naive, blindsided for not seeing the top, for not seeing the crash, because again, indicators and mathematically based indicators told us all this was going to happen. I believe my indicators. I have good indicators. That's why I am able to make these amazing calls, calling the day of the top, predicting this crash, calling a lot of these counter trends along the way, calling this one here, saying that we were going to get a sell-off here, but I told you I thought we'd probably go start making new lows. I was wrong about that. I'm going to be 100% right, okay? Then I changed, and I told you, again, before we had this move back above the 50, when we were forming the triangle, that we were going to, back here January 2nd, late December, going to go up to the boundary here, go up to the 100 period moving average and get rejection there, but not exceed 98,900. We hit 97,900, and I was 100% correct on that. 100% about the rally here, 100% about the pullback, but not correct about moving to a new low. 100% correct about the rally back up to the 100 period, and again, telling you exactly where it would go. And again, I always say this because, again, I get all these people challenging my calls. Let's see anybody make these kind of accurate predictions. And again, shorter term price fluctuations are harder than the main movement, which again is going down to 60 to 63,000. But I've been right, and right about these other counter trends that I talked about, because again, I'm a big believer in the 100 period moving average, and because I have good indicators. Again, Moon Boys, proven wrong again. At the experts, proven wrong again. The indicators, correct again. Doctor of dump and pump, or I should say pump and dump. The doctor of pump and dump, right again. Sell-off isn't over, and I told you we're going to go down to the 70 to 74,000 area, and they're going to call another bottom. The same people that never saw the top, the same people that call everything a bottom all the way down. And I told you we had the bear flag continuation or the rising wedge there. I told you whether we get a feeble rally or a bigger rally, rally's going to fail, and we're going to take out 80,000, and we're moving back to 74,000. We have a measured move on our hands. Measures down to 61,000. That's going to take us down to the 200-week moving average in the weekly time frame. I predicted we would rally up to this 100 period, but I predicted down here that we'd rally off of the 100-week moving average. Signals continue to nail it. And again, a lot of people were predicting we go up and get the bear market rally right now and move up to the 200 period. I told you we were going to stall at the 100 period. I was right about that. I told you it's a miniature relief rally. The bigger bear market rally is going to happen down here. And this is where I'm looking to close my short positions, flip the trade, and go long near the 200-week moving average when I see evidence of a bottom. And again, if you've been following along, again, I've caught this move down. If you've been following along, you've either moved to cash or took profits near the top, flipped the trade, and caught the majority of this move down. But I've had two major signals, really, the peak here and the lower high. I talked about all the opportunities there. And again, not a recommendation for anybody to buy or sell. I'm just telling you what I've done. Recommendation to buy or sell anything. But wouldn't it be nice if it was? Because it's played out beautifully. And then I talked about the opportunities rallying into the 100 period moving average. And again, adding to my short position. I'm not interested in catching a falling knife. As I've said, I have no interest in this rally right here. Leave that for the day traders or whatever, short-term. I'm looking to play this whole swing move down, and then I'm going to flip the trade somewhere in February or March, in all likelihood, and ride it back up, go long, and then flip it back to short. You know, in the 90,000, maybe we reach 100,000 level. And again, not a recommendation for anybody to buy or sell anything. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I had no interest in going long with this rally because I told you it was going to fail. It was a counter trend, miniature relief rally. Government shutdown, we got one right now, by the way. And I told you with that government shutdown, I had predicted that Bitcoin would drop and peak and drop right here. The government shutdown was on October 1st. Bitcoin peaked on October 6th and then dropped 36% down to the 100 period. Here at the 100 period, I predicted that it would rally back up to the 100 day, that other pink line that we saw on the daily chart, but not back up to the 50, not back up to the 200. And again, proven correct, because this isn't the bear market rally that people, you got some Johnny-come-latelys that are just now figuring out Bitcoin's in a bear market. Some of these Johnny-come-latelys were telling us, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have this bear market rally now." I told you no, it's gonna be back up to the 200 period and all that, back up to get to move over 100,000 and everything. And I told you no, we're not going above 98,900. This dotted line right here, which is this low right here, which I was right. Just simply look at support and resistance levels. I use mathematically based indicators. I look at trend lines. That's how I call the top. That's how I call the bottom in April, the day of the bottom in April, the day of the top in October. Took a lot of flack for calling the day of the top and for predicting this crash, but oh gee, I was right. You see, I have the ability to flip back and forth from bullish. I'm a trader. I'm a swing trader. I flip back and forth. I really don't care which way Bitcoin goes. Most people don't have that ability. Most people in crypto are a bunch of perma bulls. just as I was extremely super bullish at the April low when everybody was being fearful and had lost all hope, at the top here, I got very, very bearish, called the day of the top, flipped the trade, and I was right. And then again, opportunity presented itself here. And I keep saying, again, every rally back up is a bull trap. In a bear market, every rally back up is a bull trap. Even the bear market rally will be. But also, as what I said, is that every rally is a gift to the bears. Every rally is an opportunity for bulls to close long positions, but they won't do it. And again, I'm telling you, we're going to come down here and they're going to believe that the sell-off is over and we'll get the bear market rally, and then they won't sell into the rally again. They're going to ride it all the way down. The perma bulls, the moon boys, the experts, they'll not believe, and they'll figure out that we have a bear market by the time, just about the time it ends, down at the bottom, like Tom Lee did the last bear market. Last time he was calling for 200,000. By the way, today's January 31st. Tom Lee was telling us Bitcoin was going to double from 90,000 at the time he said it, at the beginning of January. And he said in 3 weeks we're going to be at 180,000 on Bitcoin and at new highs. What happened? Today's January 31st. Oh, Bitcoin crashed down to 75,000. I was right. My indicators were right. Tom Lee and the experts, the moon boys, they were all wrong. Everything's a bottom. Keep calling the bottom. Every dip, the dip that keeps on dipping. I told you we were going to take out this 100-week moving average and move down to the 200-week moving average. And again, the measured move, this first leg down, the continuation of the bear flag or the rising wedge here qualifies for both patterns. It measures down to 61,000. Who told you that we're going down to 60 to 63,000 back up at the top? I've been calling that. I've been called, a Neanderthal and every name in the book for saying it, but gee, I've been right. I'm going to get very bullish when we get down here around the 200-week moving average, currently around 58,000, because I think you'll have a bear market rally at that time. Bears, they love me now, but they're going to hate me when we get down here because the perma bears, they don't believe prices go back up. With this rally, they got very discouraged. Well, hey, this rally to me was a gift. I used it to add to my short position like I did with the relief rally there for the final exit point, which I talked about at great length at detail at the 116,000 area. And the short positions continue to play out beautifully. I'm looking to close my short positions to go long. Now, I am holding a longer-term position that I'm going to do absolutely nothing with. I'm going to continue to hold it throughout the duration of the bear market. I have that in a separate account, but I have my swing trades. And again, my swing trades, and I'm a swing trader, I'm going to be looking to close those positions here, flip the trade, go long, and then I'm going to ride this thing back up. Why? I think Bitcoin's going to go to new highs, and I've seen the light, and now the bull market is back. No, because I'm a swing trader. I'm interested in making money. I'm not interested in the bull side, the bear side. I'm not interested in being a perma bull or a perma bear. I'm interested in being right and making money. That's what it's all about. And I told you we were going to drop 40 to 50% and more likely 50+% to kick off the bear market, which is down here at around 60,000. 63,000 is a 50% drop. And I told you we were going to go back and test the April low. Oh, what are we doing right now? Oh, gee, we're back at the April low. Here we hit a low at 57 or 75,000. Here the low is at 74. We're just right above it right now. And as I've said, you're eventually going to take it out. Maybe you bounce above it, maybe you bounce below it, as I've said. Eventually, you're going down to this 200-week moving average. Peak a stinking boo. This is just beautiful. And again, you're going to form this larger head and shoulders. Now, I think you're going to go lower and have a lopsided head and shoulders, but you might try to bottom in this area. That's possible. I doubt it. Exactly what I think. I told you we might bottom around this 70 to 74,000 area, but more likely you're going to get the bigger 50% drop. That's what Bitcoin has done in other bear markets. Now, while other people, the herd being smug and arrogant, oh, it's 80,000. You're so blind you can't see it. Yeah, I'm so blind. We're moving to new lows, as my signals correctly called. I told you, I correctly predicted myself that we would not move above that level and get rejection and move and take out the 100-period moving average. And I just say all this because, again, I have taken a lot of grief. I have been attacked without mercy, and yet I continue to be correct. Going to ride this bear market all the way down and then going to go long in the new bull market. My signals are so stinking good, they're going to tell me exactly when that happens. Just as when we get over here, when we get the bear market rally, that's going to convince a lot of people that the bear market's over. And again, it's going to be a bear market rally. It's going to be powerful. They're very powerful. They're very deceptive. And that'll be another shorting opportunity. But this isn't going to end until the end of 2026, or more likely it could spill over into the first half somewhere of 2027. It's going to drop 80 to 90% before it's done. 80% drop is down to 25,000. 90% drop, you're looking at 11, 12, 13,000. Talked so much about.